It's definitely just a nugget, but it's very valuable. And it's one of the easiest things to think about and do, and it's also one of the hardest, depending on what you've allowed up to this point. And what I love is, and I've had a phrase for a very long time that is, you are who you hang out with. And my DM's mom had one is, show me who your friends are. Show me who your friends are, I'll show you who you are. And we're both Capricorns one day apart, so I'm like going, well, that makes sense. And it's smart logic. And it really comes down to the energy of the people that you hang around. Because the people that you have in your community, in your tribe, the people that you talk to on a regular basis, that's going to make up the energy that is you. So if the people around you are constantly in a victim state of like, oh, I have all these bills to pay, and oh, I don't want to go to work, and I can never catch a break, and I'm just a good person who never gets lucky. Or, if you have people around you that are like, you can't do that, you have to do this, or you can't do that, it's unsafe, or you don't have the time, or you have other things to focus on, or, if they're not very thoughtful, if they don't think of the little things for other people, if they don't practice good self care, which includes stinking thinking. Like, if they don't have positive thoughts, or vice versa, if they're like totally blissed out all the time and they never acknowledge the contrast when they're upset, when they're feeling vulnerable, if they're not accountable, if they would much rather like scam money out of people than learn to earn it on their own in their own way, like the people that you hang out with most consistently, that then makes up who you are, because we're energetic beings, we're social beings, we're kind of herd animals, so to speak. And so we do what those around us do. It's actually a study of heuristics. And it tends to be that we typically take in information from those around us as a survival thing, because when we were like hunter gatherers, if somebody said, oh yeah, don't go over to that field over there where there were some delicious fruits because there are skunks over there, or there's poisonous sticker bushes around the grass that are hard to see and several people got sick, there isn't really a lot of ways to double check that. So it's just easier and more instinctual to find a new place to go get different berries, or to focus on a different food, or to take stuff with you to deal with any thorny problems. But in this day and age, we have a lot of ways to double check people. We have a lot more resources and options and technology. So we don't actually have to rely on heuristics. However, it's an instinctual thing. It's not something that we typically train into each other. It's something that we do biologically for safety. The problem is that our society, especially American culture, we're very codependent. It's really difficult for us to be genuinely independent and have healthy social connections. To be interdependent, that's the proper term for it. And it really makes a difference, because if you look at the people who are successful, the people that you admire, celebrities, all of that, they had people, most of the time, they had people around them. In fact, no, I'm going to say all of the time. Many of them started with people around them who either weren't very successful, or had stinking thinking, or bad habits, or they grew up with parents that were not ideal, or were even abusive, and they wanted better. They wanted to get out of the small town they were in, or they wanted friends who appreciated them, or they wanted to get an education, or they wanted to study people who succeeded. I mean, that's what Tony Robbins did. That's what a lot of people did that got successful. They got themselves around people who also wanted to be successful. And they had people around them who delighted in enjoying, as Robbins calls it, the hallucinations of success. They got around people who are like, yeah, we could do this project, or that business, or that thing. They got around people that were like, you know what, I know you can do it. What small thing are you doing today that's helping you? Did you work on something for your business? Did you put your website up? Can I help you with anything? They had people around them that were supporting them, but they were also doing similar things. You know, You have friends that are also going to buy a house. You have friends that also want to ride motorcycles. You have friends that also have dreams of becoming famous musicians, and then that vibration becomes the one that you know most consistently. You talk about it on a daily basis. You get to see the example of somebody else trying different things, and they get to see yours, and so you can learn 2 or 3 or 4 times faster because you're all kind of playing off that energy with each other. Well, that happens the same way if you are entangled with family or friends or loved ones, to where it's a constant battle. Like, I don't want to do that, and that exercise doesn't seem fun, and healthy bedtimes, well, I don't want to do that. Boundaries, those are stupid. Like, if you're around people that do that, or people that go, I can't do that, I have anxiety, I have a back problem, I have brain damage, I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time. People who sit in lack, that's what you're going to think most consistently. And it's not that you can't get around that. I mean, there's plenty of people that, well, not plenty, it's a very small minority of people that can carry a community of other people that are in a lack space, that are in victim mentalities, and succeed. And it takes them 10 times longer to do it because they're afraid to have faith that those people can do it without them, or that can change with them, or that they'll somehow be looked at as a really crappy person if they say, you know what, you're not on my future path with that vibration, with that attitude, which is where it goes from, it's the easiest thing and the hardest thing to do. It's the easiest thing to manifest friends that are, they're in an energy of who you want to be. Well, you want to be a millionaire, you don't have to have friends who are millionaires, but they got to have kind of a millionaire mindset. That feeling wealthy with no matter what they have. I mean, maybe they don't have much money, but they have a house that's their own and a garden they can put their feet in and get their toes muddy, and they to feel like the wealthiest person in the world because of that. And maybe they have a lot of kids, and that makes them feel really, really good. Like, that's a wealth mindset. That's a millionaire mindset. And if you want to be able to buy a house, you're going to have to save money, and you're going to have to tighten the belt and stuff. And if you've got people around you who are like, but I need a new headset every week, or, well, but I wanted to spend this money, or I'm not good at saving money, or I'm not good at math, or that just takes too long, things like that, you're going to, you are who you hang out with most consistently. You're going to become like that. If you're around people who are aggressive and vindictive and judgmental, that's how that's how you're going to be. If you're around people who are reactive and have poor self-esteem, that's how and who you're going to be. Whereas if you surround yourself with people that feel good about who they are, or at least they're working on it in a genuine ways, if they're being genuine, you're going to become more genuine. You're going to have better self-esteem. You're going to be more courageous. If you're around people that don't see any problem with taking from others without giving back, or with manipulating other people into getting what they want, or having them do things for themselves, then that's how you're going to end up being. Even if your morals are on a completely different level, you're going to end up, yeah, it's easier. Oh, yeah, all right. And then as you start to feel more comfortable with that low vibe stuff, then you get more into it. Then you start pushing away the people in your life that really care about you, who go, no, that's not okay. It's not okay to do that stuff. But that's where it goes from easy to hard, because if you've got a lot of codependence or attachment challenges, it can be scary to think about releasing those people, especially because it's funny, most people that are on a light path and they're going towards that, they will have these periods of time where they will have good boundaries and do things for themselves and have great self-care and work on, well, just anything that they want to work towards, but then they'll get drugged back down by somebody in their circle who's like, they don't usually do it consciously, but if they're in stinking thinking, if they don't think they can do that or they're worthy of that, they're not good at delayed gratification or staying in an energy of gratitude very consistently, whether consciously or unconsciously, they will see you growing and get scared of that. And they don't want to grow because they've cultivated a box that they stay in, and whatever the identity is that they have in that box, like I'm a great person who never gets lucky breaks, they're going to keep manifesting that to where they feel like they're a great person and they're doing that they're doing good, but they're not really. And it starts with that attitude. And then the more you're arguing with them about how great they are and how they can do it and how that's not true, and look at how many good things, you're expending energy on trying to help them get their vibes up rather than putting it into yourself and being a good example of that stuff. And so it can be difficult, though, if this is a lover or a spouse or a parent or a sibling or a friend that you've had for a long time, most especially if you're in a codependent space. And that codependent space can be as simple as you don't want to give up on people because you were abandoned when you were a kid, or you've had commitment phobias, or you've been very deceitful and you don't want other people, you want to stop that. You don't want to be a quitter. You don't want to be a coward. You don't want to do those things. You have all these reasons to hold on to people. And really, like, having social interactions is, it's an instinctual thing, it's a survival thing, because we're social creatures, we need others, we have to be interdependent in order to survive. And so we get into codependence because that drive, like our egos trick us into believing that we have to have it to survive and feel happy. And so we don't ever want to get out of our habits. Like, either we don't want to let go of any toxic people in our life, or we go the other way and get kind of agoraphobic and we drop everybody and everything and we check out and we don't have any connections, or very few and minor. But that even counts with the you are who you hang out with thing. If you're the only person that you hang out with and your thinking is in a space of I can't do this, or I like being very scroogey, or I don't want this stuff, then you are who you hang out with and you're that person, and you have no contrast from other people to be able to change that. And when it comes to like the last video that I did, like start now, and the one before that about, believe you are legendary, that stuff, really getting started now can be as simple as looking around and seeing who you hang out with and examining your whys for why you are keeping that way. If you don't, if you're afraid to make new friends, why? What is it that's scary about it? The icebreakers, the possible rejection, the newness of it all. Like, what is it? Examine that, get into that. If it's releasing people from your life, stop and look at your reasons for that. Is it hard because you're afraid to be alone? Is it hard because you're afraid to hurt their feelings? Is it hard because you can see that they're probably going to be stuck in that low vibe energy for a long time, and it triggers your need to rescue them, or you fear that they won't find someone else to rescue them? Like, what is the thing? And then you can start to work on that. You can start that right now, as in the last nugget that I did. And you can say, you know what? A big reason that I have held myself back is to help these other people, or to not get too far ahead of them. And that's me being codependent. And the part of the reason that people do that is because we don't have faith in them. We don't have faith in the other people. We convince ourselves, no, look, they've had too many problems for too many years, and if I don't help them, they could really, really be in trouble, and then they can't do it. And then that puts us in a space of feeling like we have to control them and tell them what to do, and we have to hold this excessive space in our lives to be able to make sure that they don't fail, because we then feel personally responsible if they do fail. But really, the reason that they've failed for a long time is because nobody's had faith in them to do it themselves, to do it with others, any of that. So if you really, really want to save somebody, one of the best things you can do is learn to have faith in them. Enough faith in them that you can go your own way for a while if you need to. You can, and it's same thing with if it's the other way and you find yourself more, avoiding social situations, have faith in yourself. Have faith in yourself that even if it doesn't go right the first 10 times, it'll go right the 11th or the 16th or the 20th, that you can get it. And really start to look at, are the people that are around you, like if you have a vision, let's say, of becoming a famous rock star, And are the people around you, do they, are they focusing on stuff like that? Like, do they have a goal that's of similar caliber? Like, they want to be a famous author or coach or YouTube star or whatever it is, or maybe something they want to be a fantastic parent. It doesn't have to be like a really big lofty thing, or maybe they just want to feel physically fit and have a really great self-care routine. Whatever it is, do they have a goal that for them is a beautiful dream to have that is very achievable? Because if they have that, you can support them in that, and then they can support you in that. But if the people that you're around are constantly just focused on money and work and bills and other people's drama, that's who you're going to become. That's what you're going to be around. If you have people around you that really appreciate healthy boundaries and healthy mental health, that's going to propel you to have them. And that's going to help you correct things with family and friends and lovers and neighbors and whomever, coworkers, so that you have healthier boundaries and you feel like you've got somebody to talk to who understands it, who isn't going to get you into a vibration of, oh, this sucks or this is so hard. That's a big one. Even if you have somebody around you that's like, oh man, this next thing you're going to have to do, it's really going to be hard and it's going to suck, but I know you can do it. Like, there's a difference between saying that to somebody and saying, you know what, this next part is going to be a challenging adventure, but it's going to be fun figuring out how to do it in a way that we have fun while we do it. It's saying the same thing, but it really makes a difference how people talk to you, how you talk to people, and the inner thoughts of other people. So when it comes to getting anything that you want, anything, little things, big things, really stop and consider, who are you hanging out with most consistently? Whether that's yourself and or other people. If you're around a lot of other people who are very codependent, you're going to be codependent. If you're around a lot of people who are interdependent, you're going to be interdependent. If you're around a lot of people that really have a lot of unhealthy habits and addictions, and they find more reward in giving into that, or they make a lot of excuses for why their situation doesn't get better, why they need you to do it, things like that. That's who you're going to become. Whereas if you surround yourself with people that are like, let's embrace the absurd today and do something we've never done, that you're going to be open to possibility, you're going to be open to fun, things like that. So really, I mean, think about how many ways this affects you, how many ways that you personally cultivate community around you, that and what it does for you. Like, do you have friends and family and lovers who you feel like you can safely share your innermost self with, that you can share your vulnerabilities and your feelings? Can you be angry with them and be held in a safe space? Can you tell them about your dream to become a rock star or a famous comedian or author or business owner, and know that when they tell you you can do it, that they genuinely believe that they're not just humoring you, and even that is still a lot better than having people around you that go, well, I could never do that, or that's not possible, or you got too many other things to do, or look at how many times you've failed in the past. It's not likely that you can do that. Those become the voices in your head. So the more voices around you that you can have that are positive, that are honest, that are focused on similar vibrations of achieving things that you also want to achieve. Doesn't have to be the same thing. Maybe you want a house and they want a yacht, or maybe you want to develop a better self-care routine and they want to lose weight. Like, things that are connected in there. Like, they can be the same thing, but put yourself around people on a regular basis that you can talk to that want similar things to you. It doesn't have to be everybody, it doesn't have to be all your friends, and you don't have to necessarily abandon people in your life that, like, maybe you have siblings or something that are just, they're really low vibe and you don't want to abandon them, but make sure make sure you don't have a bunch of people in your community that are in that same energy, because you are who you hang out with most consistently. Just like with manifestation, you manifest the thoughts which you think most consistently, the emotions you sit in most consistently. So yeah, you can still have some friends that they're not doing too well, but you still care about them and love them, and so maybe you talk to them once every couple of months, but they're not your main tribe. They're not the people that you spend the most time with. You spend time with people that are in the vibe that you want to be in, and that, I don't know, They sync up with you. And then that makes a difference. That's probably one of the most important things that I've learned so far, and that most of the really, the gurus will tell you is most important. You are who you hang out with. All right, I'm going to leave, and I'll catch you in the next video.